Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion today. Remember, we are all about becoming the boss of your brain. That's what it's about. Thoughts come first, feelings second, actions or behaviors last. And so we talked about what we focus on, what we think about all day long is what we become. Isn't that gorgeous? Let's just give you a little peek of that. Wow, it might be a little loud on the video, but you know what? We'll get through because it's so spiritually uplifting and absolutely incredible. So my name is Kimberly Quinn in the gorgeous woods and everywhere else I go. That was kind of silly to say. And there's Giovanni. We're the host and hostess with the most and mostest. We are still on snowshoes in April. It's getting a little patchy with the grass and stuff, but anyway, we're still out here loving it. So about becoming the boss of your brain. This fits so well because we're going to talk today about not letting people get in your head. And that can be really difficult because they can say things that really are like, you know what I mean? And we've talked about Shenpa in the past, which is a while ago though. So let's just relive it for a second or rehash it or regroup or I don't know what we're redoing. But Shenpa is a Sanskrit for that. It's kind of cool that there's a word for this feeling because we all know the feeling. I just don't know we've always had a word for it till now. Shenpa is when somebody says something snarky. We're not even talking about the big stuff. We're talking about everyday snark and people just, being competitive and just saying stupid shit, that just they say, get your goat. That's really what Shenpa is kind of like. So when we feel like they got our goat, so to speak, and we just feel like they're going to get a piece of you if you don't say something back. So that surge of, and I want to say it back, that's what we really want to try our best to not cave into. So if both ends are free, just like I do with my Minecrafters, I would say, is it that simple? Yes. Is it that easy? Not at all. Because obviously, I think anyone out there, any adult knows, and probably teenagers probably have had it happen, I'm sure, where you just really get, people just say petty stuff. And you just feel like you just gotta say something back. So when we do that, we cave into it, we're allowing them in our head, much like it's, picture the mind. This is what I say to my Minecrafters too, and also my kids. Picture that your mind is like a living room, and that unwanted guest is knocking at the door, and you let them in. Like there are locks, there are ways to distract, there are motion detectors, right? So rather than that, you let the unwanted guest in, or they just blow through the door depending on what happens. Let's say So they walk in, sit on your couch. Let's say you have a beer fridge, but it's full of Sangrino or Pellegrino, or what are we trying to say? Pellegrino. That's what I meant. I think. Yeah. Anyway, bubbly water, because we don't want to bring all the other stuff into this conversation. So bubbly is beautiful Pellegrino. What was the one I was thinking of before? There's a different one that I really liked. I used to like. It's old school and it's not around as much anymore. Well, Perrier, that's around too. But anyway, okay. So bottled water. Maybe there's some veggies and some hummus or better yet, some homemade chocolate chip cookies right there. And they're just sitting on this unwanted, petty person who's being competitive with you at work or in your friends group or whatever is now sitting on your couch in your Pellegrino fridge, eating your homemade chocolate chip cookies and having to maybe they're even putting their feet up on your coffee table. I mean, just think of that. I know it's a little windy. We've been through this, so I can't apologize for the wind. And just think of that. So that's the metaphor for what look, snow. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so that's the metaphor for what we're doing when we let people into our heads. So we have the choice to not do that. And Wayne Dyer talks about this. All my sort of friend circle talk about this. He says nobody can hurt your feelings. Think about it. Because they're your feelings. It doesn't say the person didn't say something hurtful. They could have. But for us to allow it in the living room is a whole nother game. That's us. Think about it. You're the only one with the key to your front door, to your head. They can knock all they want. They can try to climb through the window. Lock it all up. And definitely to feel to heal, go and process with a partner or your best friend or something. And then let it go. So that's the other part about not letting people in your head when it keeps trying. When we don't gatekeep and we just let that happen. Remember the 17-second rule for one. It's tougher to get rid of that when it's gone past. You still can, obviously, but it's just a little tougher. And remember the default network we talked about, because whatever button they pushed with you, like they made you feel unworthy in some way, again, at work or your friends group, and they made you feel unwanted, or they made you feel, or open the, I should say open the door for you to feeling guilty, because they can't make you feel any of these things. But they're inviting you to feel guilty, inviting you to feel regret, inviting you to feel shame, which is those which, is the feeling flawed, defective kind of thing. And when we, wow, it's got really windy out here, so it might be tough. Oh, that's all right, I'm going to make it anyway. And so we really, when we allow that, we're on autopilot. Again, I'm not saying it's easy. The brain goes straight to the default network. So whatever your thing that is, it's in your hard drive. If you're more predisposed to guilt beatings, beating yourself up with guilt, or blame or shame, they all go together. You're more of a regret person, you're more whatever, you are going to naturally and unconsciously gravitate towards other people that are going to have that same, might be a different context for them, but have those same feelings of shame, or feeling like being persecuted, and actually seek it out. We actually seek this stuff out, with like birds of a feather flock together in these situations. And so we are strengthening all that hard drive unconscious stuff when we do this, and again, not aware of it. So we really want to be mindful always, anyway, about, I should say always doesn't exist, as much as possible with who you allow in your head, the thoughts you allow in your head, because we can't feel pissed off if we don't allow pissed off feelings first. We can't feel like we've been persecuted or taken advantage of or whatever unless we have thoughts about being taken advantage of first. It doesn't say that that's not all legit, but we have control on the receiving end, most definitely. So what it comes down to, because some things that happen at work or in friends groups or whatever, you really have to give some thought to, because you got to sometimes deal with something on some level. That's when you come in. That's when you kind of create a shit-giving budget, because you don't want to. If you just don't make up, get a plan for it, where you're going to stop thinking about it, it'll just eat up your whole day and eat up your stomach and eat up everything else. You got to make a plan. Like, how many shits do I give about this? Like, there's large scale. Somebody said something horrible about one of my kids, or something that's, huge and big, or something, really, really large scale. And then there's all the petty water cooler stuff, and people, vying for different positions and at work or whatever. People in the friends group trying to plan something that you wanted to plan or whatever. And then you decide how many shits you're going to give. If it's 1, 2, 3, and have like a cap on it. And then actually make a conscious decision, just like you'd schedule a haircut. I'm going to think about it for the next half hour, call my friend, or 15 minutes or 5 minutes, depending how petty it is. If it's something that's a little bigger, and you have to respond to an email from somebody or whatever, and then decide by, when you wake up by, 8 in the morning or 9, that I sent it, it's done, it's over, I made the phone call, so that you can go on with your day. Because otherwise, those valuable life minutes are just going right down the rabbit hole, never to come back again, and that person is not worth it. Is not worth it. Okay? Nobody is worth just throwing away your life minutes. Never. Right? Or we should say, never. No one's worth. No one is also worth no one is worth allowing yourself to feel badly. You can take, even like totally legit. So take care of it. Yes, you just don't want to sink back into the default network of shame and blame and guilt and all that stuff. Where does that go? It doesn't go anywhere. Feeling as badly as you can possibly feel doesn't help you or anyone else. It just it doesn't, right? So when we're feeling that shenpa, somebody got our goat, we have to deal with some pettiness. If you can totally let it go, all the better. You just don't want to fake that. If you're really genuinely letting it go, it's awesome. Sometimes we have to take an action. We have to do like an action, something, a phone call, email, to be able to let it go, because we needed closure or whatever. But you just want to have a schedule for that, so you don't just put it off. And I want to deal with this first and that first and this first, and then it's taking like. Let's say if you have a circle, like let's say a pie for the whole day of 100% of your life minute attention to go to, when we put it on the back burner, it subconsciously eats up a huge chunk of that, because you're going to deal with it on Monday instead of now. It's just better, because then you're immediately freed from it once you push send or make the phone call or say what you have to say in person or whatever. So that's it. Do not allow people to get in your head and steal, which is what it is, your valuable life minutes from you. Nobody is worth that. The very most important relationship you'll ever have in your life is with you. So you got to protect yourself. Never, ever abandon yourself. Stay within your frame. Do what you got to do to take care of it. and then let it go and move on with your day and spend those life minutes, the rest of them, as if they were cash. This is Kimberly Quinn and little Giovanni signing off from beautiful, crusty, snowy Notch in northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.